For the 13th successive season, Manchester United are currently the best supported club in Great Britain. Their crowds average 52,000, up by 10,000, would you believe, on last season. And those kind of figures have helped United to announce just a day or two ago profits of over £1.5 million. But it has been a traumatic week for United with those two defeats by Everton. The 5-0 league reverse was Ron Atkinson's worst result as a manager. And as Brian Robson leads Manchester United down the tunnel, he knows, and so do his teammates, that this is a critical night. A view that the supporters rarely see, the long downward tunnel, and then the roar as United take the field. Manchester United, 6th in the table with 20 points from 12 matches, currently 5 points behind Arsenal, but a win tonight will move them up to 2nd place. Arsenal, of course, are the leaders, and led out by their captain Graham Rix, who still has problems with an Achilles injury. Arsenal top with 25 points from 12 games, 2 points ahead of Everton. And as we were hearing, it's back to 1971 you have to go to find the last time that Arsenal won the league title. That, of course, was in their double year. A night which has done nothing to alter Manchester's reputation as a rainy city, but an important night for John Lukic, who takes his place in Arsenal's goal tonight in place of Pat Jennings. That hand injury, which has bothered him for a week or two now, keeping Jennings out, and Lukic plays only his 5th league game for Arsenal. Manchester United return, and it's a happy return for Frank Stapleton. He's their only change, in fact, from Tuesday night's defeat by Everton. He replaces Alan Brazil, who has flu, and teams up again with Mark Hughes in a combination that United haven't been able to field since the end of last season. Jesper Olsen has recovered from an ankle injury which forced him to go off at half-time on Tuesday. But Frank Stapleton plays his first full league game for 6 months. He had a knee operation in the summer. Incidentally, he scored in both matches against his former club Arsenal last season. Well, Arsenal themselves are forced to make 2 changes from their midweek Milk Cup defeat against Oxford. Lukic in goal for Jennings, as we mentioned, and Paul Davis comes into midfield to replace the injured Stuart Robson. And incidentally, I was talking to the Arsenal manager, Don Howe, before the kick-off. He says that they won't really know just how serious Robson's knee injury is for a couple of days yet, until the swelling has gone down. So he unable to take his place tonight, but it's still a match full of some of the best personalities in the game.
Well, indeed, and in the United side, Jesper Olsen, Bobby Robson was talking about hearing him on Radio 2 and how intelligent he was and how well he used the English language, never mind being a Dutchman. And he shows that intelligence in all of his plays. A beautifully balanced player. He can take players on, he can link with them and pass and provide crosses and score goals, and could become one of the most popular players to compare at Old Trafford with the great favourites, really, of the past. Jesper Olsen, a £500,000 buy, well worth watching. Mark Hughes, the one who I've had my eye on for some time. If United are to win the Championship, I have a funny feeling it's this man that's going to be the Ian Rush of United, not maybe some of their higher-priced front strikers. What I liked about him, he doesn't only score goals, but he can make passes to provide goals for others. He's very, very aware and sharp, and he's got a lot of courage and strength. Look at the muscles in those legs for a young man, 21 years of age. Quite a prospect for the future, and the man who might well win the Championship for Arsenal. Arsenal, of course, having their main problem, shall we say, trying to find a role for Charlie Nicholas, and they seem to be solving that problem. He's been electric in midfield, making transfers for others rather than perhaps snapping some of them up for himself. But a new role, really, and a new energy. And there's the man who everybody thought might be finished, but as chairman of the PFA has re-emerged as a player of some enthusiasm. We've always known that. But penetration, because he's been allowed a freer role and has played a part in lots of Arsenal goals. There are some of the personalities, but what a match in prospect.
Thank you, Jimmy. And tonight's referee is Trafford Mills of Barnsley. This has long been one of the biggest fixtures in British football, but with so much heavy backing for both United and Arsenal in the League Championship race this season, it has even greater significance than usual. Manchester United then kick off, attacking from right to left. United in the white shorts, Arsenal in a change strip of yellow shirts and dark blue shorts. It's Allinson, and that was Robson. Moses for Manchester United, bringing Strachan straight into the game. And a good run too by Stapleton. Welcome back by the Stretford end with his first kick, but Sansom intercepts. Hughes came towards Kidman, taking the throw. This is Ricks. And the ball will clearly skid off the turf tonight. It has not stopped raining all day in Manchester. And Old Trafford's pitch obviously very, very wet. Moses in with a firm challenge on Nicholas. This is Albiston forward, but over Robson's head. Arthur Albiston, it seems incredible to realise, has been a first-team regular for almost 10 seasons now. And John Lukic, by contrast, playing only his 5th league game, and that right knee, as you can see, heavily bandaged. He has a flake bone in that knee. Didn't stop him finding Ricks. Sanson's challenge on Strachan, turned forward by Kidman. Lukic, despite his inexperience in Arsenal colours, played around 200 matches for Leeds United, so he knows all about the big match atmosphere. Sansom forward. Robson's interception, and the measured ball back to Bailey. Hughes jumping at it. Robson. Stapleton's back heeler almost came off, but Davis was in the way. Young Paul Davis in for the injured Stuart Robson. Moses. This is Strachan. Kidman. Good running by Hughes. Robson under pressure from Talbot and given away, and the linesman has flagged offside against Tony Woodcock. This is Hogg. Hughes was the target, and he won it in the air too. But again, the ball just skidding quickly off the wet turf, and Strachan unable to reach it in time. Ricks for Arsenal. This is Nicholas. Albiston. Straight to Anderson, though. And O'Leary quickly across to cover, under pressure from Olsen. And that pressure was enough to force a United throw. Hughes came to meet it. Good control on the chest, and thanks to Anderson's tackle, United have a corner. Which is the signal, as ever, for Graham Hogg, the number 6, to move forward. There he is, taking up a position on the near post. Taken quickly to Olsen. And another corner off Davis. And an early firework at the Stretford end. Good-looking kick, and it was Ricks's head that met it first, so that's another corner. Cleared everyone, nodded back. Hogg couldn't control it quickly enough. The shot through and it's in! Robson has scored with only 5 minutes gone. What a start for Lukic. But the Stretford end will feel no sympathy at all for Arsenal's standing goalkeeper. It was Strachan's flighted corner that started the problems. A lovely little nod back there by Moran. Hogg couldn't control it, but Robson could, and the left foot shot finding the corner of the net, possibly off an Arsenal defender. It really was a superb knockback into the centre which started the problems, and Robson finding the net. Lukic unable to stop it. Manchester United 1, Arsenal 0, and the England and Manchester United captain gives the home team a perfect start. Here's Anderson. Woodcock did well. And it's certainly worth that type of shot on a night like this, skidding along the ground, and Bailey was unable to hold it. Bailey's turn to face the pressure of a corner. Nicholas knocking it back in. This is Woodcock. Talbot tried to come and meet it. It was won by Hogg. And Strachan leads the break for United. And what a fine ball. Hughes. Robson's kept going forward, but Hughes rather overhit it. But Robson again doing what he does so well, arriving late in the penalty area. Woodcock. This is Nicholas. A challenge by Moses. Robson. Olveston continues the attack. To Olsen. And Olsen willing to work hard to win it back. Kidney. Hughes again, good running, making the space. Here's Gidman. In towards Olsen. And the header behind, but Jimmy, what a good start for Manchester United.
A start really to soothe and ease all the nerves, because they must have been a little frenetic too, trying to get back on the winning trail. Olsen's header there, I didn't want to mislead you as to his nationality and talking about his Dutch speaking. He joined the club, of course, from Amsterdam, Ajax, but is in fact a Dane. But Dane, Dutchman or Englishman, he certainly is a man who needs to be watched most carefully. An impish, exciting player, Jesper Olsen.
Hogg going up well. Anderson. Olsen intercepted. It was just too far ahead of Hughes. Sansom. Straight out of play. Forward by Caton, but again it's a Manchester United throw. An enormous throw by Gidman. Caton following it, but it's gone out. Clearance was aimed towards Woodcock. Moses for United. This is Strachan. Gidman on the outside. Offside, Frank Stapleton. And it's been a day of incessant rainfall in Manchester. Sansom. And Arsenal just trying to calm things down again after the early setback of a 5th-minute goal by Manchester United. Straight to Gidman. Moses did well because it was a very tight position he received the ball in. Hughes chasing here, but O'Leary's always been one of the quickest defenders around. 10 minutes gone. Manchester United lead by a goal to nil. Caton for Arsenal. Looking for Allinson. It's Hogg's interception. Davis letting it run on. But the return from Hughes just kept in by Olsen. Such an exciting player, Robson's shot. And so difficult to contain when Olsen is in full flight as he was then. O'Leary letting Nicholas take over. Talbot's made a run in the inside left position, but the ball overhit. This is Gidman. Davis concedes the throw. Sansom, and the foul given against Hughes for climbing on the Arsenal fullback's back. The referee not happy that the kick was taken from the correct position. Hogg going for the ball again and winning it. Here's Moses. Olbiston. Moran comes to collect from the goalkeeper. Olbiston. This is Hogg. Now Olbiston again. Olsen. Hughes tried to return it to him, and in his haste to intercept, Davis mishitting the back pass as it was intended to be anyway to Lukic, and United have a corner on the same side as that which produced their goal, and Hogg and I'm sure Moran will play a part once more. Strachan again. Looked like a foul. The referee having a word with Graham Rix as the kick is taken quickly. Olsen. Rix winning it back fairly this time and then giving it away to Strachan. Moses. Just wouldn't work really for Hughes as he tried to lay it off again, and a scrappy but very competitive period of play as Nicholas eventually gives the ball away. There's no doubt that Manchester United, for all their silky skills, can also compete very hard, as many teams have found this season. Here's Gidman. Strachan making the run. Sansom's interception. Talbot for Arsenal. This is Anderson. And Robson really made life difficult for the Arsenal defenders then, and this is good play by United, harassing the Arsenal men in possession. And Brian Robson working so hard then to make life uncomfortable for the Arsenal men at the back. O'Leary was one of them. Talbot. And again, United proving their willingness to chase and work hard. Robson's tackle. Talbot. Anderson. Offside. Woodcock the victim. But Jimmy, there's no doubt that skill alone is not enough to make a championship side, and United have plenty of other qualities.
They have indeed, and Arsenal need to have some qualities at the moment, because that goal was like a blow in the solar plexus in boxing terms. It really knocked them back, and they've shown signs of a bit of self-doubt. I mean, one might easily blame the goalkeeper situation, but nobody won that header for the goal, and they were very slow to close down on Robson. So not quite this side that were running away with the things at the top of the table a week or two ago.
This is Strachan. Stapleton battling hard as Strachan comes to help him again. Kidman on the right. Moran. Robson, good ball on. Hughes taking it well. Feeding Stapleton, unless Sansom gets there. Stapleton for Manchester United. O'Leary winning it, but it nearly dropped kindly for Manchester United. Olsen, but the whistle had already gone for Talbot's foul, and again United quick to take the kick. Davis read it. Manchester United are penning Arsenal inside their own half at the moment. A very encouraging start by the home team. This is Strachan. What a good layoff by Hughes. Kidman. Well, the intention was to find Stapleton, but John Kidman, in for the injured Mike Duxbury, got it wrong. Moran battling away then with Woodcock. Davis in possession, feeding Ricks. Woodcock. Nicholas is unmarked inside the penalty area, and he spotted him. Nicholas letting it run, and Robson was the United player to intercept. Hughes, under pressure from Keita. Sansom. Nicholas letting it run again to Davis. And a good ball too for Allinson. Woodcock is with him. Ball towards Talbot on the far post, but Alveston followed it all the way. Talbot doing well, and Alveston doing even better. Moses. Strachan. How well United used the full width of the pitch. And Moses a tiger in the tackle as ever. Kidman. Has Olsen outside him, but dwelt a little too long, perhaps. The ball played towards Allinson, read by Hogg. And United so neat in defence. Alveston. And O'Leary let it go, knowing that Sansom was behind him. Talbot. Allinson chasing into the corner. Just kept it in. Hogg is with him. Did well to make the cross. Ooh, and Strachan a little clumsy. Well, Kidman, in trying to prevent it from going for a corner, only succeeded in helping it over the line, but Strachan certainly misplacing his attempted clearance. The corner again taken quickly. Lifted in towards Caton. Came off Moran's head. This is Nicholas. Now Davis hesitated, which enabled Moses to collect and feed Olsen. Strachan has made an enormous amount of ground, but what a great through ball. Hughes. Lukic, you have to give him credit, as Olsen played that ball through. The Arsenal goalkeeper cut down the angles superbly and was in exactly the right place to save what admittedly was a rather weakly hit shot along the ground by Hughes. We've had 20 minutes, and Manchester United still lead by that Brian Robson goal scored after only 5 minutes. This is Caton for Arsenal. Nicholas. Ricks. It's an Arsenal throw. Ricks again. Davis. And O'Leary. Ricks. Good ball. O'Leary continues his run, but Gidman with a fine interception. Stapleton. Strachan. This is Olberston. A little flick header by Olsen. O'Leary under pressure, found Talbot well. And Talbot running tirelessly, having won the ball, is now in support on Sansom's left, if he needs it. And now Talbot again. Nicholas. We have Woodcock and Allinson in the centre here. Sorry, Allinson on the ball. It was Woodcock and Ricks in the centre. Talbot's interception. Caton. And Hogg with the header clear. Olsen. Forward for Strachan, but too far. Strachan, Gidman, Hughes. O'Leary's challenge. Nicholas let it run, but that was a mistake. And Gidman spotting the unmarked Olsen on the left. Olberston. A good layoff again by Hughes, but Nicholas with the interception. Now Talbot for Arsenal. Woodcock moving into the space, but Moran read it. And very neat defending. Kevin Moran spotting the danger. This is Moses. Olberston bringing Moses into play again. Gidman on the right. Allinson concedes the throw. Robson. And United perhaps rather over-elaborate then. Nicholas. Talbot's made an enormous amount of ground to his right, but the ball that tried to find Woodcock was an inaccurate one. And so too was that. Olberston intercepts. Hogg. And Hughes turned appealingly towards the referee, feeling that there'd been a slight push then by O'Leary. The play continues with Sansom. Woodcock. And the referee, although he took a while to make up his mind, does give the free kick. This is Ricks. And the ball, I'm sure, came off the Arsenal man, although Caton was claiming a corner. It's a goal kick.
Well, United are not really going for a knockout blow in a strange kind of way. They're still being patient And one feels that Arsenal have clawed their way a touch back into the game. They haven't got the goal that will turn it, but they've got their composure back a little bit now and their shape. And they're looking for that opening with Talbot, an inspiration there behind everything, trying to get the machine moving.
There's 20 minutes remaining in the first half. Arsenal had won 8 of their last 10 league games, but lost at West Ham last Saturday, then of course in the Milk Cup at Oxford. A difficult week for both these teams, and which of them, I wonder, will bounce back to end it on a high note. United leading 1-0 through Brian Robson. Albiston's tackle was a good one. This is Hogg. Albiston. Down the line for Olsen. And O'Leary clear at the expense of a throw. Olsen. Straight into Anderson, who slipped but kept the ball. The header on by Allinson into no man's land as far as Arsenal were concerned. Kidman back to defend. This is Hogg. Hughes. A mistake, giving the ball straight to Nicholas. And Arsenal profit from it. Talbot. Sanson wanted it short and gets it. Ricks is on the left. In towards Nicholas. Well, Nicholas moved quickly onto the through ball, but I think it skidded at the vital moment as he prepared to hit it, and hence the shot was very inaccurate by Charlie Nicholas's standards. O'Leary climbing all over Hughes as they grapple for that high ball. Olsen. Well, the 1-2 would have been effective, but Olsen was brought down before he could run on to Hughes' return. Lukic marshalling the defensive forces in front of him as Hogg is pushed forward on the far edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Moran's up there too. Olsen and Strachan, the two players over the ball. Flipped in by Olsen, a good-looking 1-2. Hughes. Oh, and the goalkeeper missed it. And it was so close to going in. Allinson, I think, was the player who will breathe the deepest sigh of relief. Hughes clipping it into that crowded goal mouth, and it came off Alisson and hit the top of the upright. Oh, Lukic came and hesitated again, but there was a flag for a foul. But anxious moments, Jimmy, for John Lukic.
Yes, I've been very impressed with Ian Allinson, the one who headed that there, but I'm afraid that at that stage he didn't know where he was. He ducked his head, it didn't hit his forehead, it hit the top of his head and might just as easily gone in the goal. But it was a good cross from Hughes, and Lukic stood up to the pressure a little bit there, and in the end they had to foul him to get their own way, which finally they didn't.
England under-21 international John Lukic from Chesterfield, the town which has produced so many Football League goalkeepers down the years. Moran scrapping with Woodcock. Moses has the ball and then was held back, it seemed. Free kick to United. Moran. Robson turned away from Davis and then was brought down by him. And the referee having a word with the Arsenal man. Quarter of an hour remaining to half-time. And United, good value for their one-goal lead. Kidman. Being challenged by Ricks was illegal. Ricks feeling that he'd won the ball, which he did, but it was the manner in which he did so that upset referee Mills. And I think Ricks carried on his protest a little too long.
Well, he's annoyed because he didn't think it was a foul. I mean, it was a very wide and strange thing for Kidman to do, to backheel a ball as forcibly as that, and all he did is put his foot in and got a foul against him and a talking to for his trouble.
And United get a free kick. Lifted in towards Stapleton. Robson's behind him. Stapleton won it, but no real power behind the header. Top scorer last season, Frank Stapleton. Scored 19 goals for Manchester United. Not off the mark yet. Of course, this is Spurs' full league game for 6 months, though he did play in the Milk Cup against Burnley. And there was a push then by Strachan on Ricks. Arsenal's free kick. Caton climbing high, it comes to O'Leary. And United almost making a hash of the clearance, and it's still not clear yet. And pushed through, and Allinson is onside and has scored. What a run he's having. His 4th goal in 4 matches. After 32 minutes, Ian Allinson brings Arsenal level, and really United had so many chances to get the ball away, and finally it was poked through by Anderson. Allinson onside and kept his head well to find the corner of the net. And the former Colchester man, in a position like that, with that left foot of his, does not miss and didn't. Manchester United won, Arsenal won. 13 minutes remaining in the first half, and Arsenal have recovered well from a difficult early period. But here's Hughes for Manchester United, getting in behind Caton. Well, he got to the line, but carried the ball over it. Ian Allinson, by a technicality, was signed on a free transfer. It's alleged to have been a clerical error which enabled Arsenal to move in and get the man who played over 300 games in the lower divisions for Colchester. And what a good buy. Well, it wasn't a buy in a sense, but what a good signing he's proved to be. This is Sanson. The long ball aimed at Talbot. Moran's interception. Davis. Nicholas. Anderson. Olsen defending. Moses for Manchester United. Kidman. Looking for Stapleton. And it came off Caton, so it's a corner. Manchester United pushing their central defenders forward again. Really driven in towards Robson. And Lukic, by virtue of the fact that he's one of the biggest goalkeepers in the Football League at 6 feet 4 inches tall, able to tip over a header that might well have beaten smaller goalkeepers than he. Robson was brilliant. So that fine header by the United captain, almost bringing them a second, and Robson coming in again, but he didn't meet it this time. Moses did the dropping ball, though. Good play by Allinson. Nicholas. Woodcock on the left. Good play by Stapleton. This is Olsen. And onside, Strachan, and Robson's coming to meet him in the centre, and there he is, and he couldn't reach it. Well, the Arsenal defenders are angry with referee and linesman, feeling that Strachan was in an offside position when the ball was pushed through. And certainly from that angle, it looked as though they had a justifiable complaint. Robson arriving late again, with the ball agonisingly close.
I think that was poetic justice there, because I think Strachan just jumped the gun. He started just that fraction early, and the linesman was caught by it, and he allowed the run. And if a goal had resulted, I think they would have been justifiable cause for complaint. But poetic justice, the gods of football have had their way, and all's fair now.
Talbot for Arsenal. Nicholas just kept it in. Look for Woodcock, and what a fine header! Oh, a superb goal! 36 minutes gone, and Tony Woodcock gives Arsenal the lead with the most deft of headers. Nicholas did well to keep the ball in the first place and curled in a beautiful ball. And look at the direction of that header, though there have to be question marks against Gary Bailey, who perhaps dived a fraction too early. Nicholas clipping over the ball for Woodcock, who steered his header deliberately towards that corner. Manchester United 1, Arsenal 2. And from the setback of conceding a goal in the 5th minute, as Robson is caught offside there, Arsenal have come back in the most magnificent fashion. And Gary Bailey, it must have been difficult, of course, on this wet top, because the ball picks up pace and does all kinds of unusual things it wouldn't normally do. But Woodcock's header was a beauty. And here's Woodcock again. Beaten this time by Moran. It was the 7th goal of the season for Tony Woodcock, which now brings him equal with Brian Talbot, and keeps these supporters on the Stretford end quiet for a moment anyway. Holgerston. Olsen. Forward by Moran. Hughes flick, and Robson set, or looked to set Olsen free, but it was well read by Arsenal. Talbot just calming things down. To Nicholas. Oh, beaten by Holgerston. Here's Olsen. He was tripped by Anderson, and it was mighty close to the edge of the penalty area. Olsen's such a quick little player that when he tries to get away from a defender as he did then, often, even if there was no deliberate intention, a trip results. That's probably the case that Anderson will make to the referee, but it'll have no effect. It's a free kick anyway. Killed in, taken away. It's a corner. Stapleton, Hagen, Moran all in the box again, and the diving header clear by Davis. Kidman. This is Olsen for United. Challenged by Ricks. And the throw has gone Arsenal's way. It's 6 seasons since Arsenal last won here in the league. Well, they have had 3 goalless draws in that time. And they now find themselves conceding a throw unnecessarily. It was a foul throw by Anderson. Here's Olsen. Davis intercepted. Forward by Hogg. Hayton's clearance. Allinson on to Nicholas. And a good ball. Ricks. Strachan ahead of him. Sanson on the overlap. Nicholas. Ricks again. And a good flick through, finding Nicholas, but he couldn't control it quick enough. A little over 5 minutes remaining in what's been an intriguing first half. Stapleton winning it in the air, but straight to Ricks. Here's Davis. Talbot takes over. He was a little fortunate to keep it. Ricks. Sanson. O'Leary. Davis. Olsen making it hard for him, and indeed was pulling the jersey of the Arsenal man. Talbot with the kick. Tommy Caton just arriving on the edge of the penalty area, and he's the target, and he wins it, but no power behind the looping header. Olsen. Looked a dangerous throw by Alveston, but Moran collects it. Gidman. United taking one or two unnecessary risks, surely. All credit to them, their football has been accurate. Moses. Stapleton, did he get a touch? Didn't matter anyway. Sansom intercepted. And Sansom will have to work hard here. And was fouled by Hughes. Again, the sheer determination of the United front men to make things uncomfortable for Arsenal's back four, forcing that situation. Hughes. Alveston. O'Leary clear. A little bit fortunate drop for Caton. This is Sansom. Three minutes remaining in the first half. Ricks for Arsenal, who lead by 2-1. Down header away by Moran. Arsenal clearly intent on ensuring that they go in at the interval with that 2-1 lead. It's a big kick by Lukic. Moran's header. Ricks onto it. This is Nicholas and Davis. Anderson. Olsen intercepted. It's an Arsenal throw. Less than 2 minutes remaining to half-time. Ron Atkinson's view. Moses doing well. Alveston forward, but it's a little bit clumsy. Sansom onto it, and Ricks. But look how quickly Robson moved across to cover the danger. And finds Stapleton with a superb ball. And still is there to play it forward to Hughes, who gets a free kick. But Brian Robson showing just why he is rated so highly in that moment. It was his interception, and he was still in a position to play the through ball. Less than a minute remaining. Moses for United. We've seen a 1-goal lead turn into a 2-1 deficit, and who concede the free kick to Trafford. Another enormous marvellous kick from Lukic. Woodcock. That's the end of a very, very interesting first half. Don Howe must be pleased with the application his side showed in recovering from that early setback. Allinson set them on the way with an equalising goal after Robson had given United that 5th-minute lead. And Tony Woodcock completing Arsenal's revival with a second goal. No wonder he smiles with Charlie Nicholas as he leaves the field, because he and his Arsenal teammates can well afford to smile at that half-time score. Manchester United 1, Arsenal 2, and what a very good game of football it's been so far.
The Arsenal players coming out of the tunnel, talking to each other, you know only too well and I know, trying to encourage each other to find that bit of magic as a team that's going to bring them back into the game. Well, and there United following out with the England captain and his colleagues. So let's join Alan Parry.
Manchester United actually took maximum points from Arsenal last season. They won 4-0 here and 3-2 at Highbury. And the United faithful, I think at the moment, would settle for 1 point the way the last 20 minutes of that half went. Of course, a team with Manchester United's ambitions dare not settle for 1 point in any home game. Tony Woodcock and Ian Allinson, the two Arsenal goal scorers, will start the second half. And Ron Atkinson's comment to our reporter Tony Gubber as United left the field was, our players have got to learn how to defend. And I'm sure he emphasised that, perhaps in rather harsher words, when he got back to the dressing room. Arsenal attacking then from left to right with a 2-1 lead. This is Alveston. Hughes. Seems to be tripped by Talbot, and the free kick has been given. Very mobile and very strong and determined player, Mark Hughes, who was 21 yesterday. Robson. Looked for Stapleton, but overhit the cross. Kidman miskicking. A smile on his face, but I don't think Ron Atkinson will share the joke, especially if something comes of this Arsenal throw. Ricks. And the linesman flagged then. It couldn't have been offside. I presume he saw that Woodcock maybe had pushed the defender behind him. Hughes. Davis intercepts. This is Woodcock. Moran with him. Ricks. Sansom. Good-looking ball. Allinson was ready, but Olsen breaks. Payton intercepted. And Ricks strangely turning away from the United goal back towards his own. Arsenal making sure that the half-time lead is preserved anyway in the opening exchanges of the second half. Hogg missed it. Alveston was behind him. Olsen. Alveston in support. Talbot sliding tackle. Perfect night for those. Hogg. Look for Stapleton. Sansom missing it. Strachan's in there with him and pokes it home. With only 3 minutes of the second half gone, Manchester United draw level. And if Ron Atkinson was unhappy about the way his team defended in the first half, then Don Howe will be even more angry about this piece of defending. Kenny Sansom caught on the hop, but Strachan did so well to poke the ball into what was a tiny space and then into the net. Stapleton missing the ball. It came off Caton and then spinning away. It was Ricks in there. and the ball tucked away beautifully by Strachan to bring us level to 2-2. Sanson. Ricks. Furious challenge by Robson. Here's Hughes. Strachan in support down the right. Look for Stapleton in the centre, and it reached him as the defender slipped. Anderson back to cover. And Strachan has made an immediate impact on this second half with a goal and that cross, which might well have produced another. And the difficult conditions for defenders beginning to tell as the rain continues to fall. So, a match that's living up to its billing between two of the top teams in the division. And United have scored early goals in both halves. This is Ricks. And offside. Well, long before he placed the ball in the net, Talbot was offside. But Jimmy, a half that started as dramatically as the first did.
Yes, and I'm sure the game's not finished for excitement yet. The wet pitch that we talked about at the start does really provide entertaining football, but it was interesting to see that how that came about. Graham Ricks there, very disappointed in the way he allowed himself to be thrust off the ball. Strachan showed far more determination in pushing him than his opponent, and at the end of the day, that told. Lower point of balance, more thrust, and a goal chance.
Ricks getting it away this time. Robson finding Gidman. Davis, and it comes to Moses. Ulverston on the left. Hughes climbing well, but Sanson's header finding Ricks. And a good challenge by Moran. Here's Ricks. Talbot has made a fine run into the penalty area here, but Hogg read the situation well and found Olsen. Robson. Kidman. And again. But this time, United give the ball away. And still, as you can see, the heavy rain continues to fall. John Lukic waving his players upfield for the kick. But to no good effect, straight out of play, it's a United throw. Caton climbing higher than Stapleton. And the United player gets away from his marker, but just failed to keep it in play. Supporters always feel they had a better view, but Trafford Mills was very close to see that ball cross the line. Off the head of Moran, nearly dropped for Allinson. Ulverston defending well. Kidman. Completely over the head of Stapleton, and Caton clearing a difficult ball well. Davis. Moses bit in quickly, and Strachan. Hughes to his right. Robson's there too. And no power behind the shot. Lukic able to go down well to save. Strachan leading that charge by Manchester United. Davis. Ricks to Sansom. Woodcock. Ricks couldn't keep it in play. Stapleton, Gidman. A good ball by Moses to Stapleton. We saw Hughes spinning away and finds him. And still Hughes. What great determination! And it nearly paid off with a goal. Hughes had one thought and one thought only as the ball was clipped through to him then, and that was to try for a goal. He held off the defender, having chested the ball down well, and the shot was very close. Clearance reaching Robson. Gidman wasn't sure which way to go, and a nice layoff by Stapleton to Strachan. O'Leary's pace impressive again, although Hughes made sure he had to fight hard. Ten minutes gone in the second half, and we're level at 2-2. Ricks for Arsenal. Robson intercepted. Strachan comes to Gidman. Stapleton. Sansom very tight to him. This is Gidman. Back it goes to Hogg. And Arsenal have everyone back behind the ball. But that fine ball still sets Albiston free. Olsen. He went all the way, and Hughes, and how did the goalkeeper keep that out? Lukic making a double save in the most difficult of circumstances. The final shot by Hughes, and Lukic must have kept out two shots that he could hardly have seen. Gitman's throw. Hughes got clear. Well, he's aggressive in the best possible way, Hughes, and his aggression almost unhinged Arsenal once again. But how well John Lukic did. Olsen was the man who started the mayhem. Lukic misfielding that, but twice from close range he stopped the shots that came at him. Hasn't played in the first team since April in a 1-1 draw at Birmingham, when he had a run of 4 matches in Arsenal's first team. Here's Gidman. Stapleton. And the referee had whistled for the foul. United's free kick. Gidman. Beaten Ricks, but not Sansom. Free kick has been given anyway for the challenge on Gidman. Offside. Went over Hogg's head, and Moran's too. Woodcock doing well, but Moran stuck to his job, even though Arsenal get something out of it. Robson. Hughes. Caton's challenge. Tried to find Robson. But Arsenal win it back. Not for long. Kidman for United. Strachan takes over. Olsen back to Strachan, and it comes to him off Allinson, and Strachan, yes! And Strachan gets his second goal of the match, and his second goal of the half, and Manchester United are back in front. And Strachan, it was who begun the move. Olsen back to him. Allinson was unlucky, it came off him, but Strachan's finishing was superb. So it looked, as the ball was played through, as though it was Ricks who got that final touch, laying it into the path of Strachan. So Ricks will be particularly unhappy with the way this second half has gone for him and for Arsenal. It's a free kick. And Strachan now has 8 goals in his first couple of months here. And the introduction of the new signings really have transformed this Manchester United Championship challenge. But Arsenal will try to hit back again in a game that is swayed one way and then another. Oh, a cheeky free kick by Talbot. Robson hooks it clear. Sampson's made a good run towards the penalty area, but it was well spotted. And a fine ball too by Robson to Hughes. Olsen's totally unmarked in the centre. Here's Davis. Knows his challenge. O'Leary clear. Talbot. And it goes towards Allinson, and Bailey had to come all the way and made sure that the ball was well out of danger. Davis. This is O'Leary. Albiston's interception. And Manchester United playing some of their best football now. Olsen. Davis worked hard, but still Olsen. And still. And the deflection in the end. Caton able to clear. Foul for the trip on Charlie Nicholas. Caton's kick. Allinson was the target. Albiston clear, and Robson sweeping up. And United looking confident, adventurous, and neat in defence. And it's Strachan's 2 goals in this half which have turned the deficit into a lead. Caton chasing under pressure from Hughes.
One of the good things about the game is it's never been a game that's been locked in midfield. Typically end-to-end stuff, and even more now at this stage of the game. It's going just from one end to the other, almost like 20 years ago. There hasn't been a war of midfield attrition at any time during the game, which is one of the things that's made it so interesting. I could almost report, not that the rain has stopped, but it's a little lighter, shall we say.
There can't be very much more left. Talbot. O'Leary, and Robson's challenge made it hard for O'Leary, and again for Talbot. And Manchester United's aggression has won them the ball back again. Here's Hughes, who just took his eye off the ball, but Moses is still there. And it comes to Albiston, and Lukic stood up to make the save. But Robson it was, whose determination and tackling skills earned that situation for United. Kidman, on by Moses, Ricks in there with Davis. Moran miskicked. Davis. The free kick given, a foul by Woodcock on Moran. Good header by Caton. Gidman. He held off the challenge from Nicholas and the second one from Ricks. Stapleton. Well, Frank Stapleton clearly will take time to readjust to the pace of First Division football after so long out.
I watched him.
The pace has been something.
Yes, it has tonight. And I watched Frank in that last Republic of Ireland game and the one in which they lost. And he was never the fastest player in the world. If he had been, I think he'd have been the most lethal centre-forward that we've seen in the last 30 years. But he is taking time to recover. He's had plenty of training, there's no question about that. But he's taking time to find the match pace.
Moran's defensive header, back by Sansom. Strachan picks it up. Here's Stapleton. And there was a hesitation then as Robson tried to delay, thinking that Strachan was offside, and indeed he was. 20 minutes gone in the second half. Manchester United lead by 3 goals to 2. Gidman. Sansom gives away the throw. Missed it. Nicholas forward, but Moran has had a good game. This is Alberston with Olsen outside him, and it's an Arsenal throw. Talbot. Sansom under pressure from Stapleton. Turned forward by Anderson, but the interception. Hughes forward. Too far, though. Hogg came to meet it. And Robson. It's an Arsenal throw. Arsenal certainly in an attacking sense, not as impressive in this half, but that is to take credit away from Manchester United, who have been particularly impressive, as Olsen was brought down there. Very determined attitude United came out with in the second half, and it's paid dividends with 2 goals. And this looks dangerous too. Olsen. He beats Anderson and Davis beautifully, but the cross headed clear by Alberston, by Sansom rather. Strachan, Davis in there again. Clear by Ricks to Woodcock. Nicholas. And Ricks fails to keep it in play. And certainly, Jimmy, Charlie Nicholas's impact doesn't seem to have been as great as perhaps Arsenal would have wished tonight.
No, in fact, they pushed him forward in the second half, and those who accused Don Howe of being a defensive manager and Arsenal defensive side, they perhaps suffered a bit because of that, because they pushed him up behind the front strikers when the score was 2-2, and I think that's one of the reasons why United found the extra man over at the end of the day from midfield to create those goal chances. Arsenal were being constructive and attacking, either by accident or design, and especially now, Charlie's hanging up there looking to find a way to create the equaliser, but it will give United the opportunity to counter-attack and perhaps make the game safe for themselves.
Moran for Manchester United, who lead by 3-2. Stapleton's header. Robson down to Strachan. Free kick given. A foul by Strachan on Ricks. Talbot's header forward. Bailey able to come to collect with ease. And you've seen Olsen wide on the left, and it's a great throw by the United goalkeeper to find him. And Hughes and Strachan are streaming forward, and it comes to Strachan. Couldn't keep it in play, and couldn't even keep himself on the pitch. But really, it was the throw by Gary Bailey which led to that attack. Strachan running onto the through ball from Olsen after the other goalkeeper, Bailey, had started the attack. Stapleton. Anderson's header. Hogg won it. This is Hughes, unlucky. Hayton finding Allinson. 20 minutes to go. And the ball had crossed the line for an Arsenal throw. Davis under pressure. And the pressure, according to the referee, was translated by a foul by Robson. Hayton with the free kick. Anderson is on the right. It was well run though by Robson. Olsen couldn't keep it in play. And United have played so much better this half. Hogg forward. It drops to Stapleton. Hughes is with him. Olsen's arriving very quickly. So too is Strachan on the right. And there's Gidman outside him. And Gidman straight across the face of goal. It was a hard and dangerous cross. But the fluency of Manchester United's attacking play perfectly demonstrated then. Moran up well, but it drops straight to Sansom. Davis forward, Sansom's into a good position here and got between defender and goalkeeper, and Bailey doing well to be so decisive when it mattered. The rain, as you can see, still falling heavily, and in view of that, another remarkable Old Trafford attendance. 33,000 here tonight. By Gidman, but Strachan was yards offside. The linesman has flagged offside against Woodcock. Nicholas. Good challenge, and what a fine ball too. Olsen. Hughes is with him to his right. Stapleton supporting him, and the tackle by Anderson taking the ball away for a corner. And Gidman's fine challenge and through ball, setting United swiftly forward again. Corner taken short. And there could still be danger. It's driven in hard and low and came off Anderson. Lukic certainly can feel aggrieved, but will be a little more pleased when he looks up and realises it's a free kick. O'Leary. This is Strachan. United getting so many players forward now. Gidman is one of them here. Clayton dived in. Gidman held off well. And Davis happy to head behind. And Gidman's strong runs down the right have been an important feature of United's play as Arsenal choose this moment to try to make a substitution anyway. The young defender Tony Adams, who came on against Oxford on Wednesday, replaces the captain Graham Ricks, who had an unhappy part to play in a couple of the incidents which led to United's goals in this half. Quarter of an hour to go. Adams immediately takes his place in the goal mouth for the corner, and immediately will have to take up a defensive position again. Once again, Arsenal finding the pressure getting greater, and Adams' first header means it's another corner. Lukic came from a difficult position and did well, and that's 4 successive corners that United have forced. Being watched by Anderson. Stapleton's on the near post. And the referee saw in that crowded goal mouth an infringement by the United man Warren. It's a free kick.
That young man, Tony Adams, I saw him the other evening at Oxford. He came on there in a bad period in the game. He's only 18 years of age. He's an England youth international. You can see that he's come on to do a job of work. He's got just the right attitude. He's beautifully balanced for a tall lad, and I think there's a player of the future, if he hasn't got quite a job to do tonight, to pull Arsenal round and find a way of inspiring them again from the back to get back that 1-goal deficit.
Adams, as you can see, has gone into defensive position, which means that David O'Leary has been pushed forward into midfield as he was at Oxford. And Charlie Nicholas has gone even further forward now as Woodcock, the furthest Arsenal man forward then, is found in an offside position. O'Leary now in midfield. Anderson's header. Olbiston. Free kick given for the foul by Hughes on Caton. Sanson's free kick. Woodcock up well, but Albiston's tackle winning the ball. Now Davis. Sanson took his eye off it for a moment and Stapleton crept in. Robson's up there with him. And still Robson. And he squares it. It must be, and it is. Hughes the scorer. 79 minutes gone. And Hughes' 9th goal of the season will surely now put Manchester United into an unassailable position. Sansom caught out in the middle of the field. Stapleton pushing it forward. And look how strong Robson was, because as he was challenged there, he kept his feet and kept the ball and made it easy for Hughes to sweep it in. Mark Hughes scoring United's 4th and their 3rd of this second half. Manchester United 4, Arsenal 2. And what's been a very testing week for Arsenal looks as though it could turn into their 3rd defeat. But wait, here's Talbot. And the shot was not that far behind. Jimmy.
There, that seems to rack the game up, but there's still, what, another 10 minutes or so to go. It shows the value of physical strength, really, there. Robson winning the tussle with Caton. Some people write to me and say we never see the old-fashioned shoulder charge. Well, we've seen a couple tonight that have both come out in United's favour and resulted in goals. One from Strachan and one there from Robson. Perfectly fair, 2 players challenging for the ball. The one that wins it has reaped the dividend of a goal.
As Gitman has to work hard to prevent Alisson making progress, and in fact, in doing so, has inadvertently given Arsenal a corner. 10 minutes to go, and Arsenal clearly will throw everyone forward now. They're 4-2 down. And they've got to get something back quickly. And Adams, the big man, came in, but it was a fine header clear by Robson. And Strachan. And United breaking so quickly again. Olsen's up there, but of all people it was Charlie Nicholas back to defend well. Sansom taking no risks this time. Strachan and Gidman have combined well down United's right tonight. Caton's header. This is Anderson. Look for Nicholas in the centre. Moran met it. And United have been so neat defensively in this half anyway. Arsenal have really not had a look in this second half. This is Stapleton for Manchester United. They lead by 4-2. Robson, dispossessed by Talbot. Augustin's tackle. And Talbot exemplifying the spirit that Don Howe would wish from Arsenal at the moment. But as long as there's time left on the clock, they must keep trying. Though the position looks beyond them. Davis's header. That's a free kick. Foul by Hogg on Woodcock. Stapleton back to clear. Well, it was won again by Davis. Looked a dangerous ball by Moses. Straight to Woodcock. O'Leary's up there with him. This is O'Leary. Davis. And the shot beaten away. Sansom. Three United players between Sansom and the goal. And Moses was determined to make sure that he was one of them. Woodcock laying it off. It comes to Alisson. Well, it really fell to his wrong foot because Alisson essentially a left-footed player. And that right-footed shot wide of target. Caton, but he was being barged by Stapleton as they climbed for that high ball. Moses. Here's Strachan. Saw Ulverston making ground on the left. Well, again, the wet surface, as much as anything, denying Ulverston the opportunity to move forward effectively. Davis. Well, a little bit too tight for him. And Moses breaks again, and United once more have plenty forward, but the ball given away. Davis. This is Adams. And Hughes must be such a handful for defenders. The long ball by Anderson, tried to pick out Talbot. Moses for United, and Olsen. Robson. United playing their way out of danger again and turning it into an attack, but Adams with the clearance, on by O'Leary. Robson forward once more to Hughes. Caton kicking away at him, and eventually the ball dropped to his feet. Here's Nicholas. Allenson is free on the left, and this is Woodcock. And disappointing end to what for a moment looked a promising Arsenal move. And with a little less than 5 minutes to go, Arsenal will surely have to settle for another defeat. They lost at West Ham last Saturday, then at Oxford in the Milk Cup. And this disappointing week for them seems to be ending with a third defeat. United, of course, had lost their 2 previous games this week, both against Everton in the League and the Milk Cup. But they have bounced back in the more impressive style, though it has been a game which has ebbed and flowed. The second half, though, I feel sure everyone will agree, has belonged almost entirely to United. Kidman, forward by Moran. Adams won it. Nicholas letting it through to Woodcock. Here's O'Leary. And again, in these conditions, it can't have been an easy ball as O'Leary shot along the ground, but Bailey fielded it well. Olsen. Olsen dumped to the ground, but play continues as United are in possession with Stapleton. And Olsen is forward and just offside. But Manchester United attacking speed, pulling the Arsenal defence all over the place then. Here's Allenson, though, at the other end, looking for Woodcock, who was offside. Moses for Manchester United. Robson. And this is Hogg. Anderson's interception, but there's no Arsenal player forward and able to make use of it. Hughes the target, but Caton spotted it. Here's Talbot. Shouted handball from the supporters on that side, but not given. Adams. Strachan. This is Hughes. On to Gidman, but he couldn't quite control it. Davis could. But Arsenal have been very disappointing since the break. Ulverston. 2 minutes of the match to go. United 4-2 in the lead, but Olsen is offside. He's run in a free roll across the forward line in this second half, and that, as much as anything, has unhinged Arsenal's defensive plan. Oh, Hogg totally missed the clearance. And we're now into the final minute of normal time. And Manchester United's return from 2 bruising defeats against Everton looks to be complete, whereas Arsenal's problems will continue. Davis. Given away to Robson. He has Olsen on the left and Stapleton. And it was only the intervention of Anderson that stopped United finishing the match in impressive style with another goal. Here's Adams. It's the willingness right through this game of United's front men to harry defenders when in possession that has been such an important part in what looks now to be United's win. We're into time added on for stoppages as Moses wins it, but Woodcock for Arsenal. Moses wins it back. Stapleton. And now Robson. And again United getting players forward from the back. Holbiston giving it away though. It's been a thoroughly impressive performance by the home team in the second half. 6 goals, near misses, a lot of good football, a game that has ebbed and flowed with the lead changing hands more than once. But in the end, I feel Brian Robson, the captain of Manchester United, one of the inspirations behind a well-deserved victory. Manchester United winning by 4 goals to 2, and certainly on their performance in the second half, a well-deserved 3 points for them.